Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I am good. Are you doing your tax burpees?
My my text challenge. Yes, I am, but mine are looking a little bit scaled these days. My step back, step ups. But of course, we are talking about the sponsor of today's episode, which is 1040.com. They are hosting the 1040 tax challenge, which is 10 burpees and 40 air squats as fast as you possibly can. And if you register with them and upload your video to their competition corner site, then you could win $1,040 to Rogue. Wait, I tried to
Hey,
roll my R, but I didn't get it.
yeah, it was not good.
Rogue,
There you go. That's better.
Rogue. Thank you.
There you go. Much, much better. Yeah, that's probably a good reason to do burpees, I guess, and have somebody do your taxes for you. I can live with that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right, totally. That's the other thing is if you get picked as a winner, you get to use their tax software for free, which is sick, and get that shit done because that it sucks. Tax time sucks. So having a system that's easy and free is ideal. But yes, you can follow the link in the show notes to 1040.com to register. It's totes free. And there's 4 winners, the fastest man and woman, a random person picked off social. So be sure to upload your video to Instagram and tag at taxes online and the hashtag 1040 tax challenge. And then the gym with the most participation will win too. So that's cool. If you're a box and you need some equipment, now's the time to rally your troops.
There you go. Don't register if you cheat your burpees because you probably cheat on your taxes too. And then you're going to jail and you won't win. Like, right? It's like
Yeah.
yeah, just shows your character. So don't cheat. So
Well,
there you go.
speaking of not cheating or doing burpees or whatever, the open is over.
I know. You know what? I am cheating on my diet. You know what I've been eating
Ooh,
today? Girl
tell
Scout
me.
cookies. Oh,
Oh,
let me
which
tell you
ones?
all of them. Let me tell you what the game.
Okay.
Let me tell you about the game changing move. All right.
Uh-huh.
So my daughter comes home the other day, a week or so ago, and she brought home some Girl Scout cookies, dosey dos, the little peanut butter chocolate ones, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I don't eat those. That's not my flavor, right? And she gets up the next morning and they're almost all gone. And she comes to me and she's like, "Did you eat my cookies?" I'm like, "I don't eat those cookies. Like, that's your sister, And she was bent out of shape. Typical teenage girl fight ensues,
Okay.
right? So I go to Meg and I'm like, "Don't get all butthurt about this. I will get you more Girl Scout cookies." "Well, Dad, they're not selling Girl Scout cookies anymore because the pandemic." And I'm like, "I will get you Girl Scout cookies." So where do I go? Amazon. And yes, you can get Girl Scout cookies on Amazon. This is not an ad. This is
No.
just me being a fat ass.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yes, you can get them in packs of 4. You get the dosey dos, you get Thin Mints, the little peanut butter ones. I forget what they're called, and the little
Peanut butter patties
yeah, and yeah, I
or peanut
guess
butter sandwiches, whichever
yeah,
ones.
those,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the little coconut ones, with the
Caramel
chocolate and the caramel.
delights,
Yeah, oh,
Samoas, whatever they called them now.
Samoas. Yes, that was it. You get a box of 4. It's like $25 for the 4. So they're probably a little pricey, but I
Ah!
don't care. They deliver to my front door. And yeah, Girl Scout cookies, game changer, Amazon. So
Wow.
it is what we call hashtag bulking season around the Woolley household. It's great.
I've been in bulking season for 5 months, so I can fully relate. I go through sleeves of Oreos these days. I'm living my best life pregnant, truly. Like, I know I should be paying more attention to my diet because I need like nutrients to build this human. But this baby loves carbs. So
Hey,
I'm just kind of embracing it and letting it happen.
what
Whatever.
what carbs does the baby like most?
English muffins.
Oh, I love English muffins. Me and the baby have a lot in common already.
It's true. It's
That's good.
true. It's like a bad though. Like if I don't have it, then it's like not like I'm not okay.
First of all, English muffins are not that bad, dude. Like,
Well, when you eat like 7, if you eat like a fucking sleeve a week, it's not that great.
well, come on, it's like 1 a day. What are you whining about? Come on, like.
Yeah, but then it's like it carries over, right? So like okay, so then I'm gonna have cereal later, and then like for dinner, it's like a veg. I'm on a vegetable ban. Put it that way. Except for
Are you taking your
fries.
prenatal vitamins?
Yes, I
Then who
am.
cares? You're good.
Exactly, is what I'm saying.
You are good. Look, I grew up in the era. I think I've said this before. Like we didn't have seatbelts. Like my dad chains. Old Roy chain smoked when I was a kid.
Ooh,
Yes. Oh yeah, he could blow the smoke rings. He was
really
good. He was good at it too. Oh my god, he was so good
cool.
at it. Yeah, it was. He was a man's man. And yeah, it's like everything was
You're not fine.
processed Wonder white bread, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't.
Every time I like bitch that I can't, you're not supposed to have like deli meat or whatever for fear of listeria, and for the same reason you're not supposed to have lox like smoked salmon, which like as a staple Jew, lox is a large part of my diet.
I remember
Um,
that actually. We were in a Jewish community, and my ex-wife loves lox, and there
yeah,
was no lox on the house
you're
during
not
the
supposed to
time.
eat it.
Yep.
Right. So, and I bitch about it because when we order sushi, which is like once a week basically, my favorite is the Jew roll, the Philadelphia roll, which is smoked salmon and lox
Yeah.
and avocado and in a sushi roll. So, like a couple times I've just been like, fuck it. I'm going to get one. I'm going to eat these rolls. I'm going to like, pray I don't get listeria, which is, by the way, the odds are wicked low. You're just trying to be safe. And every time I'm like, should I have done that? Matt's like, Nikki, they used to tell women to have a martini while they were pregnant to like calm down. So I think you're fine with your like 6 tiny bites of lox.
That actually wasn't science in those days. That was just men being men.
That's also true. My woman is hysterical. Fetch her a martini.
Yes, boozer doc, tell her to drink something, please. I don't care what happens to that baby. That's what that's true
No,
though.
but
That's what it
it's
was like
fine.
back in the 50s and
It's
60s. And
true.
I
Yeah.
mean, I was born in 1970, so probably even the 70s, for
And you
being
turned
honest.
out fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was bald by the time I was 12, but that's fine.
I mean,
Wasn't a big deal.
it's probably wasn't the drinking. Who
Oh,
knows?
yeah, well, fortunately for me, my mom didn't drink. She still doesn't drink. She's never been a drinker, but it
She just
is.
on that sweet tea.
Yeah, yeah, all the sweet tea and grits, all the good Southern food. And I turned out fine. So
Yeah,
your
so it'll
baby
be
will be
fine.
fine. Just keep living your best life for a while.
That baby probably turned out fucking fitter than me just from this open alone. Good
Maybe
lord.
you scaled all the workouts, right?
Yeah, I scaled and I kind of like had to make some shit up too, just because even the scaled options, like I'm not supposed to do like any sort of like ab crunching movement. So even if
Right.
like you scaled toe to bar down to like sit ups, I couldn't do that. So I kind of had to make some shit up. But I think I hit all the stimuli. Is that how you stimuluses? Stimuli?
Stimuluses, because it was
Stimuluses.
multiple workouts. Yeah.
I think I hit them all because I felt tired at the right times. I felt sore in the right spot. So I had to make some shit up to do the Prego Open, but Prego Open, if you will. But I think it was good. It was very challenging. So I actually would really like to test like this time next year the same workouts to see how I do and kind of see a comparison.
Yeah, I want to do them again at some
You do?
point. Yeah, at some point. Like, I mean, I did everything one and done, so I didn't get a second shot. So I'd like a second shot to see if what I think would be a better effort would pull through. Like, I mean, I'm confident it would. I just would like another shot at them at some point. I just wasn't willing to destroy myself this time to do it. You know,
Did you feel destroyed? Because you did everything RX, right?
Everything but the kettlebell workout, which in hindsight, I kind of wish I had RX'd. Just as I'm confident I could have finished it, and like I finished it fast enough, scaled, that looking back on it, I'm like, maybe I should have. But I also wanted to walk the next day, and I was pretty lit up. Like my back was
Wait,
pretty ripped up from that one.
which was the kettlebell workout or the
It's
dumbbell
a
workout?
dumbbell. Sorry,
Yeah,
dumbbell
yeah, yeah.
and box jumps. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, what was weird for me, my highest scored workout was the lift, which was shocking to me. Um, I mean, I guess I'm happy with that, but it's just like, when you look at it percentages of what where I thought I would do well and where I didn't, that was the one I didn't think I would do as well in. And
Huh.
I was in the 92nd percentile for that lift, which I thought
Okay.
was pretty good. And I hit my goal for that, but I was disappointed. Like the first workout, I was like 82nd percentile, which isn't bad. But I think
That's excellent.
if I'd redone it, I feel like I could have been in the 90 or higher. Like
Yeah.
because that workout really came down to double unders, and I didn't get back to the double unders, which is a real strength for me. And I was doing them really well that day. So had I done what I should have done early on in the workout, I could have gotten there and fired off a much bigger score. And then because I scaled the one, that kind of blew my, when you look at a
Mm.
ranking, it blew the ranking.
Mm-hmm.
I guess looking back on it, I'd like to know how I would have done RXing all of them, but it's not really a regret as much as just curiosity, if that makes sense,
Yeah, yeah,
and a
yeah.
little bit of ego. I mean,
I mean,
there's still some
we're
of
all
that.
there. We're all there. Yeah, it'll be cool. I would love to see your new scores when you have a chance to redo them, because especially the dumbbell one. Did you scale it in 2017 too?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's why I scaled this time, because I'm like, well, I scaled last time. So I knew I would still have a comparison against what I did before. I beat that time by like 2 minutes, 45 seconds.
Oh,
So like,
dang.
so
Okay.
I destroyed my previous time. It was just, it was a weird experience. Like, I think I heard this from a lot of people. To me, the workout started in the round of 40. Like that's when it got really hard.
Yes.
And that the dumbbell at 35 pounds, which is the scale, um, isn't really heavy for me, but it's just a lot of reps. And
Yes.
I was trying to find a good pace that would allow me to move kind of quickly through the burpee box jumps or the burpee step overs without moving so fast I couldn't breathe. And so I was kind of taking, short breaks on it. And I wanted to keep my back intact the entire way, because I remember what it felt like before when I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I got into that round of 40 and I was mentally out of it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go halfway or I'm going to go one past halfway. And so I do 16 and put the dumbbell down. And then I do 14 and I move over the box, and my judge is like, what are you doing? You're at 30. And I'm like, no, I'm not at 30. I did 16 on the first set. He's like, yeah, that's halfway, buddy. Get back on the dumbbell. So I ended up losing some time there just in my
Oh.
stupidity. But it was like anything else. It was a good challenge. I feel good about it.
Yeah.
And, you know,
That one is actually the one that I'm most looking forward to redoing as well. Because in 2017, I was so scared of the 35-pound dumbbell. I was terrified of it. We barely ever used it. It was huge and heavy and
right,
clunky, and I couldn't change in the air. Like I couldn't change my hands for the
right,
dumbbell. I had to change on the ground and my back because of that. I'm convinced that if you're changing on the ground, if you got to put the dumbbell down, your back's going to be 10 times worse
right,
because you're just spending too much time in that crouch position. So
right.
that's the one. And now I really love dumbbell snatches. So that's the one that I'm like looking. When it was announced, I was like, God damn, this pregnant belly. Like this, I can't do it for real, for real. But that's the one that I'm looking forward to testing out someday when I can like bend over again.
Well, first of all, it's called a crouch position, not a crotch position.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yes. You can never
Ooh.
spend too much time in the crotch
In the
position.
crotch position,
Yes.
it's encouraged
Yes.
actually.
You can spend
More
as much
time.
time there as you want, as much time as you
Yes.
want.
Agreed.
I was really happy with the lift. I mean, I hit 200 pounds on the complex.
That's awesome, John.
What was interesting about it, so what I told Saxon wasn't there because he was still in California, but I was messaging him afterwards. It was an interesting experience for me because I've been working out at home. And so I got really tied up on the muscle ups. Like muscle ups are a real strength for me, but I've not
Mm-hmm.
been doing them because I don't have room in the basement to do them.
Right.
And I didn't practice them beforehand. And like I started failing and failing and failing. And I got one and then I failed again. And I'm like, all right, well, I can stand here and keep failing and like blow my shoulders up trying to get over this bar, or I can just book the time and get ready for the lift.
Yeah.
And so I booked about 2 extra minutes of waiting for the time cap to end.
Smart.
And I did 4 lifts. I did 135, 150. Was that right? 135, 155, 175, 200. So
That's
I
awesome.
made pretty decent jumps. But what was interesting for me, even at the round of 200, because working out at home, I can't drop a barbell, or I try not to. So I have crash pads.
Yeah.
And so I've been working out almost exclusively from hang cleans. Like I take very little lifts from the floor. And so
Yeah.
so the first clean felt really easy. I caught it like at full power. And when I mean full power, like my knees weren't bent at all. It was not a good
Uh-huh.
lift. Like I was standing
Uh-huh.
straight up. And then, so I'm
You
like,
were
all right,
like,
now,
this happened faster than I
yeah.
expected.
And then I'm like, all right, well, I got to hang the second one, so I had a slight pause at the top, but then like getting it back into the hang position wasn't a problem. And then the second lift was the exact same way. And I'm like, man, if I had actually had the foresight to like catch this in the second lift in a full squat, I maybe, could have added an extra 10 pounds
Yeah.
or whatever. But but I felt really good. I wanted to get to 200. I got to that. It certainly held up in my age group. And,
That's awesome.
you know, I'm not a big guy. So, you know, the
Yeah.
fact that I did that, I felt really good about. So it was, you
Ah,
know, like the Magic Open continues where you can, you know, walk away with something and say, okay, that was progress. That felt good.
yeah,
You know,
totally. I totally agree. I also like love the 3 week open.
yeah.
Love this format.
Yeah, I agree with that. I liked mentally and from an anxiety standpoint, I liked that it was shorter. You know,
Same, same. And I don't feel wrecked. I mean, granted, I know I had to scale everything, but like usually by week 4 or 5 is when you start being like, okay. And I liked the way that when Dave Castro said it in one of the live announcements, he was like, 5 weeks is a lot to ask of the affiliates to organize their schedules and to figure out their members, and the owners got to be validating every week. Like this felt very appropriate, and including the next step of quarterfinals and then semifinals to me feels like a good test to figure out who should go to
right.
games. Like if we had the 3 week open and then the top tier went straight to the CrossFit Games from here, I'd be like, I don't know if we really tested everything. We'll see. But having the system the way that it seems to be set up for this year, I feel like is going to be a good way to determine.
Well, I was a little wrecked. This is not a critique on Dave's programming. I liked the programming. I thought all the
I did
workouts were
too.
good.
Yeah.
I was happy to get a redo one. I liked the fact that, you know, we added in a new movement. It is, again, this isn't a critique, but having wall walks in week one wrecked me because it's not a movement that I do very often. Like we do them, but it's not a real regular movement. And I certainly haven't been training them in the basement because I'm not going to make myself do that shit. And,
No.
because I love myself. And you know, and so I did like I did wreck myself on that first one. Like my back hurt, my toes hurt, like everyone else. Jillian Michaels was right, which is blowing
I
up
was
our
just gonna
toes.
say it.
Um and then you know you follow that up the second week with a workout that's you know really back intensive.
Yeah.
You know, and you're kind of going both ways, you know, extension, flexion, how whatever you coaches say. And yeah, it was rough. But then I recovered pretty good going into week 3. So it
Yeah.
was good programming. It was just like it was a little tougher on my body than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I thought it was great programming. And I like that. I mean, like, I don't mind blowing out your shoulders and then blowing out your back. They're a week apart.
Right.
Like it wasn't, yeah, back to back. He wasn't like part A, 17.1, part B, wall walks and double unders. That would have been hooey.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I'm glad it's over. I have to be
Yeah,
honest.
same.
Like, and I'm
Same.
certainly was glad it's not a 5-week thing for me.
Yeah.
And since I didn't make quarterfinals, I guess I don't have to worry about it. So
Ooh. Oh, you know who did make quarterfinals?
who's that?
Matt did.
Oh, look at that. Look at
I
Matt.
know. In his age group and also as an individual.
Wow, good for him.
He was like, wouldn't believe me. I was like, honey, look at your numbers. And he was like, no, come on,
That's
no. I'm
awesome.
like, yeah, dude, pay up. Give me your $50 or $75 or whatever it is, because you doing this.
Well, I'd like to point out I had 2 coaches in the top 5.
So is it weird? Have you been back to Cliffside since? Like, is it weird now? Is there like sibling rivalry going on or no?
No, you know what? So all 3 of those guys are really funny. They like to train with each other. They're typical brothers. Like there's always some smack talk and joking and
Yeah.
whatever, but they couldn't be more supportive of each other. What's really interesting about them, they're super supportive, but they kind of have this rule, like they don't care who knocks each other out.
Hmm.
If Spencer came in and knocked Scott out of his chance to go to the games, he'd be like, you should have trained harder, brother. You know, like that's all their viewpoints, all of them. And I really respect that about them, that there's never been, you know, Saxon's been 3 times, Spence hasn't been yet, and Spence is super fit and certainly qualified. And there's never been, you know, any of that, you know, animosity that you might think would be there, or, you know, it's just a total supportive family, like so excited for each other, you know, and there have been moments where they've like hurt each other's performance, you know, both
Yes.
ways, you know, like
Yeah.
at
Wadapalooza 2 years ago, I think.
yeah, and the Brazil
Yep.
competition, you
Yep.
know, like they've certainly had those moments where that's happened, and yeah, they're super supportive. So it's really impressive that they're able to do that. It was interesting to me to see Scott, you know, finish second, and not surprising. Just I think a lot of people had forgotten he existed after going team, and he certainly
Mhm.
didn't. So that's good. And
Yeah, no, I was very surprised. And I did an interview with him the other day. And I said it to him. I was like, I didn't know how this was going to go because you had been training team and because your younger brothers are 9 years younger than you. And
right.
one of them was on the demo team last year. Like,
Yeah.
I thought this might be their year to outshine their big brother and not even close. And he was like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I got it.
Well, they are really funny. Like I said, I messaged Zach. I was kind of texting him after the competition. I'm like, first of all, dude, you got a baby on the way. Don't kill yourself under 300-pound cleans. And he just laughed. But it's funny to me, like people didn't think he could lift that kind of weight because he weighs like a buck 75, buck
Yes, he's
80.
very small.
And he lifted 296. Like he's just super strong.
Gross.
Yeah, it's crazy. Um, but yeah, they're just interesting that way. It'll be fun to see how they do. He said to me, I said, "Hey, fourth place, congrats, bro." And he's like, it's funny what happens when you take all the pressure off because this wasn't a qualifying event.
Right, right.
And
Oh,
so
interesting.
so I think that mindset is, and you can kind of see it through the leaderboard even as you like kind of look to see, who did well and who didn't. Like, I didn't look at it and go, all right, well, like Vellner was 20th is a good example, right? I don't believe, and I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Vellner was like trying to finish outside the top 10, but I also don't think any of these guys are like, you know what, I'm gonna go kill myself to get into the top 10.
None.
There's
None
no
of them
reason
are
to.
thinking like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you just have to
Exactly. No.
qualify. That's it. Just
Yes.
qualify for the next round.
Yes.
And
Every
I love
elite
that.
athlete would have redone all of these workouts 3 times if they needed to be in the top 10. And
Yep.
every single one of them went hard, looked at their ranking, understood that in each area of what are they calling them? Continent is it's like one per
Right.
whatever, like they're taking like the top like 4,000 people or
Right.
something like that. So every single one of them saw their scores in the top 500 and they were like, this is fine.
What's interesting to me about that, though, and I'm not saying that to say that Saxon placed higher than he would have. Like, it's actually kind of the opposite. It's like everyone kind of did the workouts only as much as they needed to,
Yep.
all of them. So I think the rankings, I think, are really legit. And you look, like Rich Froning's fifth, Noah
Yeah.
sixth. Like, these are very familiar names. Jeff Adler first. Like,
Oh, yeah.
super familiar names, people that are at the top. So it's fun to see. We're going to have an exciting season, even without Matt in it.
I think so.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So
I'm very looking forward to like seeing how the guys competition shakes out. And on the ladies side, like all the young ladies that are making a rush at the friggin' top spots. Unbelievable.
So I laughed. Somebody said, I forget where I saw it. It was in somebody's thread. It might even been in one of mine that, when they announced 21.4, they're like, okay, heavyweights are here. Guess all those 16-year-olds are done. And then Emma Carey lifts 218. Mal O'Brien does 217. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I mean, I knew they could do that much weight because I've seen Mal do it,
Right, right.
but it's like, you never really wrap your mind around the fact that, Emma, who's she's 16, is that right?
Yeah, I think she is 16.
Yeah, did 218. Tia did 230. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
12-pound difference between them, and Tia's obviously a world-class lifter on top of being game champion, many times. So
But
it's
it's
just,
like this next generation of kids, man, they are going to blow everything up.
it's crazy. Like I'm looking at some of the weights they lifted. Like Danny Spiegel did 236, which is just sick to me. Like I'm like, Danny, Jesus, like come on. Which,
Hey,
by the
can I
way,
tell you a funny Danny story real quick?
I love it. I love Danny's stories. Let's do this.
So she texted me the other night. It's like 12:30 a.m. And I was like, I didn't even see it until, or maybe I was up late. I can't remember. But in my head, I was like, what are you doing? Go to bed. But it was like after midnight and she texted me and all it is a TikTok video of some lady like pulling apart a cabbage and putting pieces of cabbage under her eyes, like on her eye bags. All it said was, I remember you said that you were worried about this on you, so maybe try this out.
Oh
Because
my
I'm
God.
always like, oh, these bags are in my eyes. I need like fillers or whatever. And that was it. Like, I don't know what she was doing after midnight. And she just saw this TikTok of this lady like placing cabbage all over her face. And she was like, oh, Nikki really needs to see this right now.
Oh my God. I love Annie.
I
She's so
haven't
funny.
tried it yet, but I'm going to. You'll see me with the cabbage face.
We need to get her back on. We haven't had crazy stories in a while.
Oh,
We need to do at least quarterly, just one crazy story podcast and have her on.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. She's probably got a bunch now that she's like moved. I wonder if like the creepers came out in the move.
Oh, where did she move to?
It's to the West Coast.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All you poor women deal with all the creepers all the time
It's
anyway. So
terrible. It's terrible.
I'm
Oh,
surprised
good
you haven't
Lord.
got any. Have you got
Well,
any
speaking
weird
of, so now
creep?
that
Any weird like pregnancy creepers at this point? Because you know they're out there.
no, is that a thing? Is that a thing?
If feet are a thing, pregnancy's a thing.
Is there like a Pornhub category for like women who are lactating or something?
I cannot confirm or deny that, Nikki. I don't know. I don't know. Why would I know
No,
that?
why of course, why would you know that?
Why would I?
What is
Why?
that website even?
I do
I've
not
never
know
even
that
heard of
at
it.
all, Nikki. I have never looked that up at all. It is not in my
Never.
Google search. Yes.
Mm-mm. Look, I'm not one to yuck anybody else's yum, but at the same time, like, no, please don't. No, I haven't gotten any. I have gotten a lot of DMs with baby name recommendations.
Oh, what are they? What are the best ones?
There were some good ones. Uh, one came in today that I actually really liked. It was Beckett.
Beckett. Oh,
Yeah.
man, this is the whitest kid ever. Beckett.
Yeah, there's that. It's a little vanilla, but and also like being from Boston,
Sound, Beckett
there's a
sounds like a
picture.
mouse in a Disney movie. You can't name that kid Beckett.
A
I feel like
mouse
he's.
in a Disney
Yeah,
Beckett.
it sounds like a cartoon character. Beckett.
I just liked that it was different. I liked
Yeah, it's
that people
cute.
I like that people aren't messaging me being like, name him Dave. Like
See,
I've thought of Dave. Like that has come to mind.
I'm just gonna shit on every name you tell me until the only name left is John.
John. No
So,
biblical names,
mm,
remember? I'm trying to
oh,
avoid
okay.
that,
Yeah, there you go. Okay, good point.
including the first book. So there will be no Moseses.
No Moses, Mosai.
Mosai.
Any other names that have been suggested?
No,
That
that's been my favorite one. Someone recommended, and I'm totally blanking on it now because I've been put on the spot, but it's Archie,
oh, I
which I
like
actually
Archie.
really like. However,
Until you have a
it's what
ginger.
right, a ginger, and that's what Meghan Markle and Prince Harry named their kid. And
Yes.
like the number of people who tell me like on a weekly that Matt looks like Prince Harry, I'm like, we can't name our kid Archie. We just can't do it. It's too on the nose. It's not fair.
I like Archie. It's a cute little name.
I do too. It's really cute.
You could
But
name your next baby Jughead. You could have the whole gang. It would be
we could
great.
have, yeah, absolutely. No, we can't do it. It's too much the same.
All right.
No,
Well, I
no.
want people to send us baby names. Send them to me so I can select them. That'd be
Vet
even
them
better.
for me.
Yes, I will
Yeah,
vet all the baby names.
perfect.
It'll be great.
Just give me a short list in the end.
Yes. All right. What are we talking? We're talking game stuff, right? Do we have
Yeah, I
something?
wanted to just bring this up since we are talking about the end of the open, and there was some kind of like next step breaking news today on the game's website. So for those of you who haven't been totally following the process from here on out, we just finished a 3-week open. Next is quarterfinals. It's in 2 weeks, week and a half from now, weekend of April 9th through the 12th. And it's going to be a number of workouts, and we don't really know. No one's really said much about quarterfinals other than I think it's like 5 workouts, and the athletes will be doing them at some point within that like Friday to Monday time span, but we really don't know much about that yet. So that's the next step. Then the top athletes from there, from quarterfinals, will go to semifinals. And this is the news that was just dropped today. So there's going to be 4 weeks of semifinal events. These are the former sanctionals, if you will. So week 1 is like the MAC, and Torium Pro. Week 2 is going to be Granite Games, Fittest in Cape Town, Brazil. Week 3 is going to be Woolwins and Asia. And then week 4 is West Coast Classic, Atlas Games, and the German Throwdown. And by the way, Atlas and German Throwdown are both now virtual events because of COVID restrictions and things like that. So we kind of always knew this was coming. We kind of always knew it was going to go open for 3 weeks, quarterfinals, which was going to be online again, and then semifinals, which were hopefully going to be these live in-person events all over the world. The breaking news part of it is that CrossFit also announced that in addition to the scheduled in-person semifinal events, they've added what they're calling a virtual catch-all semifinal, which will take place in the 4th week. So that's the middle of June. And it's going to allow any athletes who are unable to travel to their respective semifinal due to COVID restrictions the chance to still compete. And that's new. We've never really seen. So now there's 4 weeks plus this virtual catch-all event if you haven't been able to travel. I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. There are a number of things that are interesting to me here. First of all, the Europeans are pissed off.
Are they? I haven't heard.
Yes,
Tell
well,
me.
like I keep getting messages from them all through the open, pissed off already, and this makes it even more so. They're on lockdown. They're still on lockdown. And like,
Right.
I'm not blaming cross. So this isn't me railing on CrossFit. It's like, but people are obviously frustrated. They've been in lockdown. They're not coming out of lockdown anytime soon. They don't see the end in sight. And CrossFit's over here going, all right, we're going to start the competition now. And Americans, you go first. And then the Europeans are going. The Europeans are like, we don't know when we're getting a lockdown. So how are we going to do rope climbs and running and an assault bike? And we get fined if we actually go to the gym. So we kind of have to do it at home. And if you don't have all this at home, like, they're railing. So like if you go onto onto the websites, particularly I was looking at Dave's today because he announced it, and they're railing on him,
Oh,
railing.
you mean for quarterfinals?
Yeah, just in
For the
general, like for all.
immediate next step, like to
Yeah,
qualify. Yeah, because for quarterfinals, you're right. They did release an additional equipment list that has like a 15-foot rope for rope climbs, and I think it has a GHD and maybe a couple other things that not everyone has in their basement. So yes, that's a good point. Though parts of Europe are coming out of lockdown in the next like 2 weeks, right?
yeah, it's just, but still, like it's these are all different countries, so they're all going to have different
Yes. No, you're
regulations
right.
and rules and whatever. And I think people
Yes.
are, it's I don't know. I guess this has nothing to do with CrossFit, the organization, or Dave or anyone else. It's just like people are frustrated. You've been locked up for a long period of time,
Yeah.
and you don't know when that's coming out, and you have something you love like CrossFit and you want to compete. And I'm sure especially the fans are looking at it and going, man, the best of the best in Europe may not get to compete
Hmm.
to some,
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough because what is the alternative? Is CrossFit like halts the competition until COVID gets better? Lord knows rather when that could be, will be because of all the strains and all the other things that are happening.
Well, and here's the other thing. So like these are now this part does become a qualifier for the games, right? I'm right about that, right?
Well, quarterfinals becomes a qualifier for semifinals.
Yeah, okay. So, the question becomes now then, particularly for those in lockdown, A, do they have the facilities to do it? And B, as we do these like virtual catch-alls, or are they going to be sending judges out to do it? Like they just don't have details yet.
Yeah, right, exactly. We just don't know yet.
And so
Um,
that's the thing. Like everyone knows a competition like the Open, where you're judging yourself, brings a lot of scrutiny. We've seen it for years. You can look back on, like the Brooke Wells video is one that immediately comes to mind, where with
sure.
the handstand push-ups and people were complaining about how it was filmed, and so now we're going into this new one. People may be filming themselves, like nobody knows. And I think it's the uncertainty plus being locked up for a long period of time that's just, it's driving people crazy. And
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they sort it out. My complaint right now, I heard Armin railing about this the other day, and now that I'm really starting to notice it, is that like we seem to be getting a lot of this information from Dave and not from the games website. Like it's all on the games website, but like Dave announced on his page that the semifinals update, Atlas Games, the German Throwdown, moving to virtual, but it's not on the games Instagram page. It's like, why is the director of the CrossFit Games the news source? Like he should be creating workouts, not be the news source. Like
Oh,
we're forced to follow him to find out the breaking news when we ought to be getting it from the game site and we ought to be getting it from the website.
Well,
Is
I will argue that it comes out on the website at the same time.
Well, of
I
course, but I mean, come on, nobody goes to the web anymore, Nikki. We all use Instagram and
oh
TikTok and whatever. And
I like troll games.crossfit.com
okay,
constantly.
okay, well, the games has an Instagram page.
Yeah, they should.
He's the
I agree.
director, not the
They
news
should be more
source.
active. Well, that I disagree with. I like that he's like the one that's dropping that information when we
Here's
have it.
here's the
But I
problem with
don't
it.
disagree that the game's Instagram should also do that.
This is the same complaint I had when we disagreed a couple weeks ago and you were blatantly wrong. And that was is that he's the director of the game. So like a week or so ago, he posted the CrossFit Games anti-doping program, which by the way, awesome that they're posting that. Love it.
Yeah.
They need to
Yeah.
post every single test. Like I'm all for it. But he posts it and he puts the people in there and he made a point to single out Ricky Garrard. I don't want to make this about Ricky, but in the comment section, he said he's looking forward to this guy coming back to the competition clean. Now, this is the guy that creates the rules to the games, thinking literally creates the rules, right? Creates the
Yeah.
workouts and the rules for them, and is now quite literally saying, I'm looking forward to him coming back, showing that he has a preference toward an athlete. Now, whether it means he
Oh.
likes the athlete or doesn't, it could be inferred by other athletes. Not to mention, you got other athletes that hate this kid, hate
Wait,
him.
I didn't take it that way at all. I took it
People
as him,
will. People
but I took
will.
it as him being like, hey, I'm putting out there that this is our doping policy and these are our rules. And per our rules, this guy was sanctioned, served his time away. And if he's coming back, then he's coming back clean because we're still out there and we're still testing and we're still making sure that everything's going the way we need it to in order to run a clean
No
competition.
argument to that. But again, he's the director of the games, Nick. You quite
Yeah.
literally said, looking forward to seeing him return clean.
Yeah.
He should have no stakes in looking forward to or not looking forward to someone returning ever as the director of the games.
Returning clean. He should be looking forward to everyone competing clean.
Okay. But again, my point is like this is a guy that creates the rules for the game. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the other athletes that this kid kept off the podium when he
Right.
cheated. And Dave's going, can't wait for this guy to come back. But we
Clean. Not
doesn't
just
matter.
can't wait for him to come back. Oh, I
It
think it
doesn't
matters a
matter.
lot. I think it
No,
matters a ton.
here's what matters, Nikki. We shouldn't be having this debate. That's the point.
Why?
He should not be involved in liking or not liking athletes. He's creating the damn rules to the game,
But
creating the rules. He's not an administrator. He's not even, the guy in charge of the games. He's literally creating the rules. He could, if he's showing preferential treatment, or even there's the inference, or even just the fact that we're debating that there could or couldn't be preferential treatment, it puts a cloud on the games. That's the point. You want someone in charge of the rules, completely and utterly impartial, completely and utterly. He's creating the rules.
yes, he is creating the rules. I just don't think that this is a show of preferential treatment at all. And so it
Again,
doesn't
but
qualify.
that's
But I don't disagree with you that there should or shouldn't be preferential treatment. I just don't think that that is this at all.
I'm not saying he is showing preferential treatment. I'm saying the fact that we have the ability to debate it is a monster problem.
I disagree. And as the
And
director of games, he's not just like from 9 to 5 every day making workouts and setting rules. Like there's so much more that he has a hand in developing the system around the entire competitive angle of CrossFit. So I like that he has the news and tells us the news and breaks the news of what's happening when. And like I think that's all part of his role.
then he shouldn't be creating the rules. If he's the one breaking the news and saying, hey, I'm excited, this athlete's coming back, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, that's going to be great to see him compete. He shouldn't be the one creating the workouts for that kid to compete in. Somebody else should be doing it.
But
Somebody
that's
else
not
should
what
be
he
saying,
said. He didn't say I'm excited. I'm
he,
excited to watch him compete clean. And
did he?
Yeah,
Didn't he? He said, looking forward to seeing him return to the competition floor clean. So what
clean.
part? Okay, so you're looking at the word clean. My debate is he's looking forward to seeing him.
Well, but if he didn't put the word clean, then there would be no context for his post. He could say I'm looking forward to seeing everyone come back. Well, clean is like the only content he would never bring. I can't wait to see you, bro. Like clean is the context of this post. And
Just,
he is competing. Like we know that Ricky's like doing the open wads and shit. So
well, assuming he qualifies. I mean, which is a big
yeah, of
assumption.
course we don't know.
My
We don't
my
even know what the next step looks like yet.
my point is the person in charge of the games should be unimpeachable in their debate. I shouldn't be able to poke holes in his story.
I don't think you are.
I absolutely am. He quite literally said he's looking forward to seeing him return. You're focusing on clean. I'm going to focus on looking forward to seeing him return. That's
Well,
preferential
we
treatment.
can't like break up sentences and take
You're
things out of
breaking it up.
context.
You're breaking up the clean part.
No, I'm using it in the entire sentence the way that it is.
I'm using it in the entire sentence. I'm looking forward to seeing him return clean. I'm not putting the emphasis on clean. I'm looking forward to seeing him return. He'll be clean. I'm looking forward to it. What's the difference?
The difference is you're not finished. It's like you're like taking it like looking forward to seeing him compete would be an issue. But looking forward to clean in the context of that post where he was talking about the fact that this guy, these are our
Hey,
rules, this guy served his time and now he's coming back.
I don't think Dave likes Ricky any more than anybody else. That's also my opinion. I think Dave's a great programmer, and I don't think he's trying to screw people. My point is he should be unimpeachable, and this is another sign that CrossFit's not managing this piece of their business. That's my point. Like somebody needs to manage this. The longer we have this I'm gonna call it a cloud. It's not a cloud, but it's all I can come up with on the spot. This viewpoint that Dave can do what he wants, and he maybe or maybe not isn't showing preferential treatment, and he's the new source and he's the one in charge. This will always be an amateur sport with a large paycheck. Always.
I mean, I guess I don't see any of that like the things you're rattling off like don't that's not reflective to me and like the things that I see. Like when you post the news, the breaking news
Here,
or whatever, like I'm
here's an
glad to see that coming
here's an
from him
example.
from the middle of the
Here's
nucleus of
a
the sport or
perfect
whatever.
example. There was a basketball game the other night. I think it was a college game, if I'm remembering right. I don't even remember what college it was. So apologies to whatever college got screwed here.
Oh.
But it might even been hockey. I don't even remember the sport. It was a sport though. One of the refs, yeah, it was hockey, said I wanted like got caught at an open mic saying, God, I wanted to call a penalty on that guy, showing preferential treatment. Now, he didn't say I was trying to make up a penalty. He didn't say I was hoping the guy would do something stupid so I could call. And he just said, man, I wanted to call a penalty on that guy. Probably just in a moment of frustration because he didn't like the athlete. The guy's no longer going to be a ref in that sport because refs have to be completely impartial because they manage the rules. Dave
Right.
manages the rules.
I guess I'm sorry. I just don't think this is the same thing at all. Not even
Man,
a little bit.
well, and look, I could be wrong. I'm just telling you, I believe at some point it's either going to blow up on us or the sport's just never going to grow past what it is. And for me, I want the sport to continue to grow. And I think in order for it to do that, you need some level between the person creating the rules and the athletes. And this is another example that there's no one between them.
I don't
That's
know. I
all.
also want the sport to grow, and I like the. I mean, this is kind of like what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, but I like the structure and the personas and the dissemination of information, and doesn't feel preferential to me. I don't have an issue with it. I think it will help us grow because it differentiates us from other professional sports in that respect. But that's like this is we don't even this is
But
another can of worms.
you think you're going to get more professional, high quality athletes to want to come into the sport that could potentially show preferential treatment toward the athletes?
I don't think that there's professional like high-end athletes that are looking to come into CrossFit but then see Dave Castro's Instagram post and say I'm not doing this, just kidding. I don't think that's happening.
Well, I don't think we have those high quality athletes at that level yet. That's coming
Where
up
do
in
you
the
think
next.
they'll come from?
I think they're coming up from those teenagers.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's
Totally.
absolutely where they're coming from. And look, and I could be blown out. I'll fully admit I could be blown out of proportion. And I'm sure people are going to send clips of this to Dave. And I feel like I should be leading sentences with really bombastic things and let them just clip it out so they can think I'm a total jackass. You know, I'll
I
like
don't know
pause
the
one.
real you, John.
Dave makes the worst workouts for the best programmer ever, and they can they can clip
Just
out that
cut the
second
first
part.
part.
Yeah, they can clip out that second part and send it to him, and he'll just hate me. No, look, and again, I could be wrong. I'm just thinking, I want to see this sport be an actual sport. I'd like to see it
Yeah.
be in colleges and
Yes, I
on
agree.
ESPN on a regular basis. And I think there's some things they got to nail down to make that happen.
I don't know. I think we're heading in that trajectory just by doing what we're doing. And I don't think that those things need to change.
Mm, Yeah,
That's just
well,
me.
we'll see.
Well, yeah, yeah.
You're a homer. What can I say? You know,
I'm a homer?
yeah, you're the home girl. You got to agree with them. I get it. That's
Oh, what's a homer? Like a
what it
Homer
is.
Simpson? Because I
No,
eat
you're
donuts?
the hometown girl. You got to agree with what they say.
You think so?
That's what. No, I don't think so.
Oh, I'm like, really? Do I? Because
I
there's
was no, I was
plenty of
defending you.
times I haven't
I
agreed.
was defending you in the DMs to people. Someone goes, she has to agree because she's paid by them. I'm like, first of all, she's not paid by them. All
First of all, I'm
right.
not paid by
Yeah.
them.
She's not paid by
LOL.
them. Yeah. I'm like, she's not paid by
If
them.
only.
I'm
I
like,
wish.
I
That would
told
be
them I
fun
told them all
to
the truth.
work
I'm
full
like,
time in that
Nikki
position.
doesn't agree with them because she's paid by them. She agrees with them because she's naive. That's what I told them.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
there's
thought,
that.
yeah, I thought it was perfect.
No, there's definitely that. No, I agree with them because I like the way that things are. I mean, that's just me. Maybe
For
perhaps unpopular opinion, but
for the record, I
mine.
am excited to see Ricky Garrard compete. I want to see him out there. Like I don't disagree with that in concept. I want to see him out there clean, and I would love to see them. And then maybe they are. I haven't done enough research to know, but I would love to see them post all these drug tests every time they test someone. Post it. Like we should be able to look up and see who got tested. And every of the other
Yeah, I
sports
did think
do
that was
that.
cool.
I think the
Yeah,
more they
I
do
thought
that,
that
the
was a
less
really
people can
neat
poke
post.
holes at the sport. Like I think it professionalizes the sport to be able to say, look, Frazier was tested 100 times or 50 times or
Yeah,
1,000 times.
yeah.
And like, I can't tell you how many times I've shown up at the gym and Saxon's in the bathroom with another guy,
Yep.
having to pee in front of them. Like, it's like
Yep.
they show up and they get tested. And like, I know the coaches I'm around get tested. So I know what's happening.
Yeah.
I would like to see it on the web so everyday normal people could look it up and say, oh, that makes sense. These guys are getting tested all the time.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that.
Yeah, it'd be good. And I just from a curiosity standpoint, I would be curious to know how often the top tier athletes are getting tested. The other ones that are like coming up, are they getting tested? The teens, like, I'm just curious what that whole policy is. Just be interesting to see. So
Yeah, yeah, it'll be especially now that we're like more global than ever and we're trying to figure out how to do this like, open to quarter to semi to whatever, some in person, some online. Like, yes, there's got to be a whole new protocol they're working on to make sure that everyone that needs to be tested is tested in the appropriate days and times. I mean, obviously in-person events, I'll never forget the most stressful part of working in a regional or turned into sanctionals, but used to be regional was that we had a very finite amount of time to get winner interviews because we had like a
right.
broadcast schedule that we had to stay within. We couldn't just broadcast from whenever we wanted to. So it was a very fast like scramble between when they announced the winners because they had just been doing all the calculations with scoring and when my team could go and like grab the people and I had like 20 seconds with each one and I had a whole team of volunteers that forced them to stay on the competition floor while I was like, okay, third place, okay, second place, okay, first place, come over here, quick, two quick questions. And during this time it was so stressful because the athlete control people, the moment winners were announced, were instructed to whisk them away for drug testing. And my whole team of volunteers were like, no, they have to stay. They have to stay for 90 seconds. Niki needs an interview. And everyone was like, we got to go. They got announced. We got to watch them pee. And it was always so stressful to me because I hear him in my ear being like, okay, where's second place? And I'm like, second place is walking away. We have to go faster.
Right.
Like, it was a struggle, but so I know that they do a lot of that in the in-person stuff and they're probably going to have to finagle how to do it all around the world virtually too,
I did have a little laugh to myself when I was watching the Frazier interview on Rogan. He was talking about the testing and how he was just used to just talking to the guy while he's peeing. And I'm like, I'm a nervous peer. I'd never be able to compete ever.
Mm-hmm.
There is no chance I'm peeing in front of somebody. No chance.
Yep.
Like, sorry, dude.
It was funny when you heard him say like they got so used to it and the guy would come at 6 a.m. and sometimes he just didn't need to pee. So the guy would
Right.
have to like watch him sleep
Right.
for a while.
Yeah, hang out. I'm gonna sleep for another hour.
So weird. What a weird life of professional athlete. I will never know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not peeing in front of somebody. No, like I don't like to pee next. Like dudes are weird anyway. We got urinals. We don't even like standing next to each other. And you got to
How
stare straight
funny.
ahead. No, dude, if you look down, bro, no, there's none of
Hmm.
that. You know, don't use your peripherals. Stare straight at that wall. Like
I'll
no,
pee in front of anyone.
girl,
I don't really
girls are
care.
girls are built different. You guys go to the bathroom in pairs anyway. Dudes are like, no,
Yeah.
like
I've peed in front of so many people. I have to like stop myself actively from like peeing while I'm on the phone with people because I just don't give a shit. And like some people I do pee while I talk to them, but some people I like have to put the phone on mute and I'm like, I probably shouldn't be peeing on this work call, but here I am.
I do that. I have a
Whatever.
lot of conference calls I take from home. Oh God, I hope nobody from work listens to this, but I do conference calls from home sometimes. And so I have to go to the bathroom and so I put it on mute. And that's my nightmare scenario that I
Uh-huh.
take it off mute as I'm flushing. Like I know
Yep.
it's going to happen at some point. And because we're always on these WebEx, there's a little microphone next to your name. And
Yep.
so when it makes a sound, the microphone flickers, so they'll know it's me.
Yep.
Oh,
Totally. Totally. You want to like level that up one when I was working in-person events back in the day, pre-COVID, and I always had a microphone on me and I always had like an ear pack in my or a audio pack. Um, I would like have to untangle myself and whatever and like mute everything every time I went to pee, or the entire truck would listen to me pee.
oh, that'd be the best.
Yeah.
You could record it
So
and sell it.
funny.
It's another way to make another income stream for you,
God, I
Nikki.
am missing out on so much money.
I know all these income streams,
Do you think that there might be a whole subset of people who only want to listen to pregnant ladies pee?
guaranteed.
Ugh, people are so weird, and I will take their money.
I'm absolutely figuring out how weird the world is. The bigger
Mm,
the page gets, the more people I talk to, the weirder people become. It's
really?
just, yes, it's just so weird.
Do
So
people
weird.
ask you on dates ever?
No, I don't get any of that. Like it isn't that I'm getting weird stuff. I'm seeing other people's weird stuff because people just post stuff in their stories. Danny posted a really
Yeah.
good one the other day about some guy messaged her and it was like 6 paragraphs long. And it was basically just talking about how great he is, trying to get her to go out with him. And that, he's, I think he was telling her he was like a sultan or a prince and he had all this money and it
Mm.
was like this laundry list of things. And like right in the middle of it, it said how he donates all this money to the Red Cross. And I messaged her, I'm like, you should just message him and say, I don't like the Red Cross. That's all you should say. Because that would be the most random thing you could say to somebody. Like, who doesn't like the Red Cross? And she just laughed her ass off. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. But I'm like, seriously. It's like stuff like that you see all the time. It's like, I don't know.
Like, how many times has that worked for that dude?
Where I see it more often, I know we've had him on before, but Jessica's page, You Look Like a Man, like she's
Oh,
always posting like
uh,
the things dudes send to women is so bizarre to me. Like I can't even wrap my mind around what people will say to other people. And it's not like just like the comments on people's pages. I'm not excusing it, but I understand it because people think I've got free speech, so I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Doesn't, makes me not an asshole. So they say whatever they want in the comments. And I kind of understand it. I don't excuse it, but I understand it. It's the DMs that are crazy to me, where you would just message someone and go, hey, quit having plastic surgery, or hey, your boobs are too small,
uh-huh.
or hey, wanna F, it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
That's
it,
being a female on the internet.
it's not even, yeah, and it's not even that. Like she posted one the other day, it was a DoorDash driver. And the guy messaged, because you get messages from DoorDash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can like text them.
It might have been Uber Eats. I think it was DoorDash. Anyway, she messages and says the guy who she was delivering food to, he's like, hey, I'm sorry I was rushing down. I was upstairs getting dressed. You looked really great though. And she responds, goes, well, thank you. I felt like a mess. Like she was very polite. And he goes, what are you doing later? And then sends her a dick pic. Like, yes.
No.
Shorty,
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
who does that to their Uber Eats driver? Like, she's gonna bring you food again, buddy.
Yeah, it's
Like,
awkward.
I'm like, oh, I'm like,
Good Lord. Did you see the one the other day she posted that was like, it was an article that was like some school district somewhere in the world was going to be offering like free like pads and tampons, like putting them around in
yeah,
the school or something for girls when they start their period. And some guy commented on it and was like, I disagree with this because then women are going to think it's okay to just have their periods out wherever, like at school.
Just have it whenever you want. Like you can
And I
hold it
was
in.
like, I didn't even know like how to, I didn't even know how to respond. That like, that was like someone's real life thought. Like we can't put pads in schools or else women are going to think it's okay to have their period at school.
It's not okay to have your period whenever you want. Hold that shit in, ladies.
Literally
Hold it
though.
in.
Dude, Jessica's page, if you don't follow, you look like a man. You absolutely have to because it is eye-opening. And sometimes I can't even. Sometimes it's like too dark and deep and I have to like swipe past the stories because it's just like I can't, I get too upset. But it is educational and everyone needs to see what she's doing.
Yeah,
Please
some
go
of it's
follow her.
way too much for me. I got to be honest. Like
Yeah, it's a
I don't
lot.
look at, I don't look at all of it, and some of it, like, and I love Jessica. So this isn't a complaint on her, but some of it I think is so confrontational, it makes me uncomfortable. I respect what she's doing. It's just like I don't want to go there emotionally, like watching the fights
Right,
between
right, right.
people. So I don't
Yeah.
follow all of it. I don't unfollow her. I just don't look at it. Like anything else, if I don't like it, I just don't look at it.
Yeah.
But it is like the stuff like that I see that I'm like, it seems so bizarre that someone had that thought and thought that was okay. It's like, okay, just bizarre.
Yeah, and it's real. Like I think we're so insulated, right? Like people who are our friends and probably in our circles of friends and followers or you or listeners of this podcast, like we're insulated in the free thinking circles that we run in. And we forget that this stuff really exists. Like those people aren't just being like internet idiots. They live their lives every day thinking that that's okay or thinking that treating women like that is okay or thinking that it's just I could go on forever is another rabbit hole. We should call this episode the rabbit holes we don't go down.
Well, the one we're not going to go down, but I'll mention because it's part of the story is, we have all these people on the podcast. We had Athena on who wrote Lifting the
Yeah,
Weight, right? And she did a post on Morning Chalk Up last week, basically saying she wished Noble had more inclusive sizes for bigger
right.
people. She wasn't saying, hey, Noble shouldn't be the sponsor or Noble's a bunch of jerks for not having XXL sizes. She's just saying, hey, it would be, you guys are the sponsor of CrossFit, not just the sport, but of CrossFit. There's some of us that don't wear XLs. We wear bigger than that. We'd like some. Would you mind making them?
Yeah.
And oh my God, people lost their shit in the comments. And again, we're saying things like, well, maybe you shouldn't just be fat. And I'm like,
No, we're not.
I'm like, why are you guys why can't people just be nice to each other sometimes online? Like,
Good
don't get me wrong, this is coming
Lord.
from the guy that says a lot of mean shit online, but it's like, come on. Like at some point you got to step back and go, let's look at like who's saying it. Why are they saying it? And maybe I just want to take a moment to at least try to understand the viewpoint.
Yeah.
Instead it becomes about, well, it's a free market capital system and they should be able to sell whatever they want. And we're like, yeah, they should, but hey, we'd like some XXL, sizes. Like,
It's a free market capital system. I will buy your shit. I
yeah,
will give you my money.
that was
Just
her
change
point.
it up, yo.
Yeah, she's
Like
like, we
change
want
it
it to
up.
be, yeah, she's like, we want to spend money with them. That's the point. And
Yeah.
it's just, it was just, for me, it was just an example of kind of what we're talking about here, where people would just say the weirdest, most horrible things. And you
They
sit there and think, man,
do.
like, what makes you think that thought is okay to like, just go on and
Yeah.
just troll and fight with people just to troll and
Don't
fight,
know.
you
I
know?
don't know. It's always the weirdest people too. Do you find that like it's always the weirdest like people who aren't following you, who are trolling you, who like have to like come out of the woodwork to find you. It's not like you popped up on their feed.
Right.
That's what I always find. Like the people who like pop up, like the guy who popped up onto my page the other day to just tell me that I need a nose job. I was like, well, but you don't even follow me. It's not like it's not like you were tapping through my stories and saw
Right.
me and you were like, whoa, that bitch has a huge nose. Like, where did you come from to find my page to then find a photo to comment? That is so strange. Like, it doesn't upset me. I'm more baffled like that people have that kind of time.
Were you counting the minutes until I attacked him though? You're like, I wonder how long
I
it's gonna
knew it
take
was
John to
coming.
go
I
after this
knew it.
guy.
The moment he commented, I was like, oh God, John's gonna see this. Good
Yes.
luck.
I'm not gonna lie. I made 3 or 4 comments that I deleted before I chose the final one I went with.
John defending my honor on Instagram is my favorite thing that's ever happened. And It happens every
Hey.
time. Every time someone makes a shitty post, I'm like, oh God, John's gonna see this. This guy's gonna get eviscerated.
Well, and I don't feel like I eviscerated. What I was trying to do is like, all right, I have to be mean enough that it hurts his feelings, but not so mean I can get in trouble with Instagram, but mean enough that everyone else sees it and they'll pile on him. And it was very effective in
It
that
was
regard.
excellent. Yes, it was very effective. You're
Because then
totally right.
everyone piled on him. That's what I wanted. That was
Yeah,
exactly what I
it's
wanted.
perfect. It was perfect. I also typed a couple things that I ended up deleting.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like it's tough. And
yeah.
that first of all, I what I want to say to the guy was like, that's the best you could come up with. Like
Well,
I can give
kind of
you
me
I
too.
can give you 10 insults on Nikki besides a big nose. Come on. Like get your shit
Seriously.
together,
And
bro.
also it's like yes, I do have a big nose. Like what are we debating? Zero things. But uh, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
It's
typed some but again, it's like it's not seeing that shit never upsets me. Like I never go home at the end of the night and be like, "Oh my god, is my nose too big?" Like that's never the thought that crosses my mind. It's always more like, where did you find the effort and how did you decide to come out of the woodwork with that? Like that's what you landed on.
oh, it's because
I don't get it.
he's not a good troll. Here's a lesson for anyone that wants to troll.
Ooh,
Here's
okay.
your lesson. Don't pick traits that people don't have control over. You can't if you say to me, for instance, you're bald. All right. Yeah, no
Yes.
shit. I don't have control over that. And like I don't like it, but that's not the ultimate troll. If you want to pick on someone, pick on something they're working on. If I were going to pick on you, it'd be like,
Ooh.
hey, your arms look too big as you work
Right, right,
out,
right, right, right.
like that would be the one that would get you because you actually work on that. You
Right. I'm
know,
like, damn it.
for a dude, it'd be like, hey, your calves are skinny. You know, it's like you gotta like pick the
Mm,
things people like are trying to be good at. That's how you troll them. You know, I'm like, the dude is just an idiot. Just a total
right.
idiot. But
He landed poorly with that
yes,
insult.
people think they have the right to say whatever they want. Oh well.
The internet. Let's just delete it forever.
I like it.
I know
Oh,
you do.
I just block them.
Yes, I should do that too.
I've gotten
Yeah.
really good at blocking people. I blocked a couple last week actually.
Ooh. Would you like to read their usernames
No.
live on the air?
No, look, I asked somebody nicely not to do something. Like they were going into the comment section and trying to create drama. And they had this what they thought was a funny line talking about, hey, let's bring Christ back into CrossFit, right? Trying to get Christians pissed off and start a fight. And then he would continually troll them. He's done it before, you know.
Oh.
And so I told him, I'm like, hey, and I deleted 3 or 4 of the comments. And by the fifth time of me having to delete one, I just straight up messaged the guy. And I'm like, hey, this is going to be your only warning.
Good for you.
Don't do it or you're out of here. And then he changed screen names and did it again, thinking I wouldn't be smart enough to figure it out. So I blocked both the screen names. It's like, come on, dude. Like, I'm not stupid. I remember what the last one was. I know what this one is. I just blocked you both. Like, it's just dumb. You
Of
know, it's
course it's
like,
stupid.
yeah, it's like, don't create drama where there isn't any. Like, don't go in and, you know, for me, it wasn't about Christians and non Christians. Just like, why pick on somebody just for the sake of doing it? You know, because it isn't fun. It isn't like a meme. Like, I do that in memes, but it's not intended in a mean spirited way. It's a meme. Like memes
Right.
have are like kind of their own thing. Going into the comments and like
Yeah.
drilling somebody for their religion or their race or
Stirring shit
their
up.
nose or whatever. It's just
Yeah.
mean, and meanness is it's just gross.
I will end with this. Do you remember putting the Christ back in CrossFit? Just made me remember. There was a video, like a funny video on YouTube. This was a
Yes,
million years ago.
I
Do you
remember it.
remember CrossFit?
Yes.
It had to have been in the very beginning of CrossFit. It had to have been like 2011 or 12 or something that someone made this YouTube video, and it was literally like cross dash fit, and it
Yep.
was like a like fake
Yeah.
Jesus character that was like thrustering with like a big wooden cross.
Well, in those days, you could do that stuff on the internet and people wouldn't get triggered. But now
And
there's
people just
so,
laughed.
yeah, now you can't. I'm not kidding. I am so careful. Matter of fact, I have a meme sitting in my deck right now that I've been sitting on for 2 days because I can't bring myself to post it.
Not gonna do it. Send
Oh,
it to me.
I'll do it. But
Fine.
it's, you know, it's like it's this point, I do have posts that I look at for a long period of time before I decide whether I should or shouldn't, and plenty that I just never post because
Mm,
I just don't want to fight that. Even though I think something's funny, I look at it for a while. And like, how many people are going to be pissed? And if it's more than 10% of my followers, I don't post it because it's not
Good
worth
for
the
you.
trouble.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
don't
good
need
for me.
to offend those many people.
I kind of want to open a second anonymous page and just post all my horrible things on there. I
Oh
should do it.
God, that would be toxic.
It had to get back to me. Someone would figure out it was me, and then I'd be in trouble.
Totally. Totally.
Anyway,
Well,
all right. Well, this was
all
fun.
right. Yeah. Happy end of the Open.
Yes, it was good Open. Glad it's over. Now we
Same.
can critique everybody else's work as they get into quarterfinals and semifinals. And
I can sit on the couch eating Cheetos, yelling at the screen about how unfit those people are when they come
yes,
in last.
Girl Scout cookies. Order some Girl Scout cookies.
I'm doing it. For
Perfect.
sure.
All right. Well, this is fun. Go pick out a baby name, and for everyone
Okay.
listening, send me baby names, and we'll narrow it down to a good one. And we appreciate you guys being with us tonight, and we will chat with you guys soon.